Hey, it's BT. On this episode of Tales from a Gemini, I talked to Kensei Matsudaira, and he raced the Moto America Mini Cup, is a champion in Mini Cup in the 160 um, category, and it was him and his dad, and we just talked racing and him growing up. And if you're not a fan of this kid after this interview, well, then I don't know what to say because I just love that knowing that I wanted to race and seeing that relationship between their dads, just like I did with KD Jr. and his dad. It was just a beautiful thing to watch. Watching these two, you don't get a better just kinship or closeness with your dad than racing and watching your son race and dealing with, watching other tragedies and knowing your son is out there racing and what happens when your son crashes. I love this episode, man. It gets me in my heart, in my feel. So I hope you feel the same way about watching this episode. Hope you get a couple laughs and enjoy it with Kensei Matsudaira. Yes. We're starting firing out right on all four cylinders right now. 1, 2, 3. Hey, it's BT with Tales from a Gemini, and man, I'm so excited. Right before the Thanksgiving break, my next guest, it goes like this. I was at MotoGP in Coda, and I'm trying to get everything situated with my passes and everything. So I'm watching the pre-event press conference, and I see this kid ask Mark Marquez a question, but he's like a professional. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my job to this kid. Who is this guy? Turns out this kid is a beast on the track. He races everything. He races flat track. He races MiniGP. Matter of fact, he's the Moto America Mini Cup 160 champion. He went over to Valencia to race, and now he's a budding movie star. He had a little bit role in a documentary called Donde Nacen los Palatos, which is the Day of the Racer, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, my guest, Mr. Kensei Matsudaira. Hey, what's up, Kensei?
What's up?
Hey, man, listen. How do you get your poise right as an 11-year-old? How do you get? It's like I feel like I'm talking to an adult, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I feel like I'm the 11-year-old and you're the 53-year-old. I mean, seriously, how do you get that poise already at this age?
I think it's kind of hard sometimes, but I think it just comes naturally too.
I can tell it does because when I watch you ask Mark Marquez a question, I mean, I've asked him questions also, and I get so nervous, and I'm like, and you ask it like a pro, bro. I mean, you were like a pro, and I was like, how's this kid get the poise he's got? And then I watch you race. You race speedway, motocross. I mean, first of all, no one races speedway in America that I know of. Speedway, and then you went over to Barcelona. You raced a little flat track. The question is, what don't you race?
Nothing.
I love it, man. Okay, listen. Let's go back to the beginning. You have your dad here with you. Dad, give me a little background on you before he came. Like, what was your life like before Kensei came and started taking all your money, and or you had to fund his racing dreams? What was your life like? I mean, were you a racer? Were you wanting to race, and then you fell in love, and then Kensei came? Tell me about your life first.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I loved motorcycles since I was, younger, like teenage years, and in college I got a bike and started riding it in the canyons, track days. Started getting into some racing, and around that time when I was sort of really getting into the racing, Kensei came along. He's my first son. I have a young daughter as well. But when Kensei was born, I'm like, hey, I really want to share my love of motorcycling with them. So what can I do? And at that time, it's like, do I go racing? And it's expensive, tires and bike and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see what's available for the kids and check it out and try to meet people and see what's out there. So I started checking out some local mini bike racing organizations, started racing it myself, and then it was a ton of fun. I probably had more fun racing minis than big bikes, because you're riding 110%, but you're going so slow, so it's okay. You can totally hit the other guy and like not crash, and it's okay. And it's cheap, a set of tires will last you a season. So so I had a ton of fun doing that. We did like 24-hour endurance races. That's actually something that I've been doing for maybe like
A while.
a while, like 8, 9 years or something.
Yeah.
And since last year, I kind of handed off to Kensei. He's all right.
Hey.
So now, he's doing that, and actually, we're planning on doing one again in a couple weeks. So that's something that we're looking forward to in the off season. But anyway, mini bikes started getting into that. We started racing with M1GP, UMRA, NorCal Minimoto. There's a bunch of organizations in California that made it super easy to get involved, and that's where when he was old enough to ride, I started racing when he was 4, and we've been doing it ever since.
Man, I I love talking to young racers. I had Christian Daniel on, KD Jr. I had him on, and I just love talking to them because to me, there's the bond between father and son is just strengthened, and it's what I've always wanted to do. Where Kensei is now, that's where I wanted to be, and to know that what you guys are doing, I mean, it just makes you guys just that much closer. And I never had that. You know what I mean? Growing up, like I wanted to race, but I couldn't, whatever. So now when I see that with you guys, it just, man, I love that. I mean, I know he's probably, maybe, I don't know, he's older than he looks. So I don't know if you appreciate that bond between you and your father yet, or do you realize that?
I realize it for sure. Just for everything he's put in for me.
Now, do you realize how much you're draining him? I mean, because having a kid, period, is a lot of money. Having a kid, period, it is a lot of money just to school lunches and do whatever, all the stuff that kids entail. And now you want to race. Like, tell me about, like, now what do you do for a living, Dad? What do you do for a living?
I'm a software engineer.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, well, there you go. So you can hack into bank accounts or whatever and and kind of fund this racing. So that's good. So that's great. So, okay, listen. So you started racing, and I'm looking at your website you started riding at age 3?
Yeah, in 2014, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, how did you know that was what you wanted to do? Because I have a 3-year-old at my house, and it's been nothing but dinosaurs until he got to be around 6, and then he's kind of going into bicycles now. But I mean, it was nothing but and dinosaurs and Pokemon and Paw Patrol. So how did you know you wanted to ride motorcycles?
My dad just took me to the track once, Button Willow.
Mm-hmm.
We brought our little electric bike. It was with a Minimoto USA. Once the races and stuff are all done, he brought out the little electric bike, and I just rode around the parking lot, and then like the spark just grew into me.
Really?
You rode on the track
Oh, I did?
at Buttonwillow?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was your first time on the track.
Oh, I thought it was flipping one.
You don't remember? I mean, it's only been 8 years ago. You don't remember?
Not really.
Yeah, he was definitely into the dinosaurs and Paw Patrol
yeah.
and all that too.
For sure.
I think that.
But he started getting on those balance bikes,
Yeah.
like Striders, when he was 1, and he always loved it. We watched MotoGP, with him in diapers, and he enjoyed it. And so we got him a little electric bike, and as soon as he could, sort of get on it, he did, and he's been doing it ever since. So he learned how to ride a little motorcycle before he could, pedal a real bike. That came later. So.
Wow. Okay. Because I saw the video of you pushing. I think it was him, or was it another kid? You were pushing him around a dirt track and getting him ready. Make sure he had his balance. And then it was on Facebook. I think on your Facebook page. And
it might have been one of the other kids we were helping too.
Yeah, I think it was another kid you were helping, because I think they said thank you to you. But I just thought that was so beautiful to watch, man. And it's like, now what happened? What would have happened, Dad, if he didn't get into your love? Because sometimes kids don't exactly follow the father. Sometimes they want to do their own thing, and it's like you have your passion and you try to share it with your son, and maybe your son's like and he goes a different way. Like, what would have happened if he didn't?
Yeah, I mean, that's totally cool too. I have a lot of, sort of hobbies. Motorcycling is absolutely one of my biggest hobbies, but I have a lot of other things I enjoy too, and I share all of them with Ken. And like rock climbing, skiing, mountain biking. So he does all those things and does them all pretty well. So, but motorcycling is the one thing that stuck. We definitely did that the most.
Yeah.
And
that's how we got to where we are now.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things too was that we made some really good friends early on through motorcycles. I know you guys interviewed Christian Daniel, and he was one of Ken's first like motorcycle racing buddies, and to this day they're still like best friends. Yeah, so having a friend out there to ride with, train with, and race with was definitely a huge thing that helped us, get involved and stay involved.
I think honestly, and maybe it's just me because we're biased and in that world, but I think there's nothing like the motorcycle community. I think they're just open arms and whatever you need, even if you're competing against someone, and let's say you need a part, or you need somebody to help you with something. I just think they're so welcoming and so open. I mean, and maybe it's just me, like I said, I'm biased, but everybody I've talked to, and even being around that community, they're just so. It's just a loving community. I mean, I think it's because it's a niche sport, and I think that helps. A niche sport, and everyone is so just, hey man, you need help with this. I mean, I interviewed a flat tracker, and he was the same way. Something happened to his bike, and people were coming in and giving him parts to help him race against them. So I just love that, man. I think that is
absolutely.
Is that what you guys found when you went to the racetrack also?
Absolutely. Like from when we were doing tiny little mini bikes, when they're 4 or 5 years old to now still, where we're fighting for a national championships or whatever. If our friends need anything,
Okay, so now
we give them parts.
how do you get to the part to where you can that you wanted to race? I mean, there's something different from riding, okay, I'm having fun, to actually competing.
I actually just threw him out, to the wolves from as soon as he was able to ride, I'm like, okay, let's go racing, just see what it does. It doesn't matter how you do, just go out there. It's a cool vibe because, at that point, I've been doing it for a couple of years.
Right.
I knew a lot of the organizers and the people out there anyway. I'm like, it's just a cool family vibe. And, just riding motorcycles at the track and stuff is fun. But when it's like a racing environment, it's like an even tighter knit community and family, So, I just wanted him to be a part of it, and, just no pressure, just, something fun.
And did you like it right away? The racing aspect, when you got out there right away, did you like, oh, I'm digging this? Or were you like, I don't know if I like this or not? Did you get scared? I mean, how were you feeling?
First race, I was so nervous. So nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I fall? What if I do this? What if I do that? But I ended up, last?
This is definitely not one of those things where he came out and he won his first race and crushed all the kids. It was not like that. But he had a ton of fun, and he did well, and it's been improving. So
I was happy I just finished the race.
Yeah.
And okay, so did that make you go, okay, let me try this again? And when did you get to the point where you go, I love it, or you crave it? You know what I mean? Like, when did you get to that point?
Maybe when I won the Rookie of the Year. That was like, okay, I really love this sport. Like, I want to keep doing it.
Yeah. I guess when you're in a award like Rookie of the Year, it kind of makes you go, yeah, this is okay. I kind of like this. It's kind of like Michael Jordan playing basketball. Like, you know what? I'm pretty good at this. I think I'm going to stick with this for a little bit, see how it works out.
Yep.
Now, okay,
that was pretty cool. Yeah. It was when you were 4. Yeah.
In 2015.
Yeah. And then, one of the local, racing organizations we were racing with, M1GP, and they had a little award ceremony. They had little plaques for, all the different, classes and all that. He got Rookie of the Year. And he was like,
Oh my God! At 4,
he loved it.
At 4, I mean, you're talking like he's a veteran, but he was 4. And he gets Rookie of the Year. The only place to go after that is up. The only place to go is up. Now, did you do any other sports at all? I mean, I know you mountain bike and different kind of disciplines, but I mean, do you like soccer or you try to play football or maybe even basketball, anything at all?
At school, I used to play some basketball with my friends. It wasn't actual basketball because they would always call fouls really easily. Oh, you stepped on my shoelace. That's foul. So I kind of stopped playing that. But at school, I still play like basketball, soccer, handball, baseball, kickball, a lot of things.
Yeah, not like super organized, but for fun.
Oh, just for fun. Okay.
Recess sports. Yeah.
Recess sports. Yeah.
But I say you're a black belt in something. What are you a black belt?
We got him into Taekwondo when he was 3. When he was really little too.
3 or 4.
Just for some, fitness, whatever, just something to do after school. And, he got a black belt, I don't remember when, like 7 or 8 or something like that. And then After that, we switched to judo, something a little more like,
That was
really
when I was
physically like
that was
demanding.
that was when I was like 9.
Yeah. And then, so that's our thing now.
Yeah.
You're basically peaking before you're even a teenager. I mean, you were a black belt at what, 3 or 4? Oh my God. I mean, seriously, at Taekwondo and now going judo, dude, I want no part of you. So if you ever racing with somebody and it gets kind of cantankerous, if they get into Park Ferme and they go, "You want to go?" You go, "I don't really think you want to do that, bruh." I mean, you got the skills, man. What don't you do well? I mean that. You're already a black belt.
I can't think of anything at the top of my head. I think I'd have to think about it for like 5 minutes.
And it's got to be the cheapest sport that your dad has you in. I mean, other than running, I think if you decide to take up running, your dad would be like, "Thank God I can afford tennis shoes." Okay, that's great. Because every year at the new set of leathers, because he's growing, he's going to keep growing. I mean,
Man, this year we went through like 3. He had a growth spurt this year, so when he was little, it was good. He could get like 2 seasons out of a set of leathers.
We
But
got one suit over there
yeah,
in the closet that's like all beat up for 2 years.
it's just gonna get worse for you, Dad. It's gonna get worse for you. Now, are you trying to help your daughter race also, or are you
she is not into it at all. Like we taught her how to ride.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like every year, like maybe once a year, she'll like, okay, I like this, and then she stops. So
Well, how old is she? How old is she?
7.
Oh man, she's old. Okay, compared, I'm gonna get she's old. This family's accelerated, man. I feel so like I haven't done anything with my life. I mean, you already got a black belt. I mean, you started riding at 3, you're racing at 4. I'm like, I haven't done any of this. Dude, you're excelling more than me, and you interviewed Mark Marquez better than me. I mean, I feel like less than worthy now talking to you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, man. The sky's the limit for you, dude. Well, how do you set your goals? Like before every racing season, do you sit down and write them out, or you just go, "I'm gonna have fun and we'll see what happens"?
It's usually just I'm gonna have fun, see what happens, but the main goal is always to have fun.
Right.
Second one is not to crash, and then third one's to win.
I like that. But but if you're crashing, then if you learn why you crashed, whatever, then it's like a learning moment. But it's still probably it's still probably not fun though, right?
Crashing's not fun, obviously, but maybe every once in a while.
Yeah. Have you ever been, I guess, I don't know, scared? I mean, I know we look as parents, we look at kids as fearless. But when you're out there, I mean, are there times you go like, do you get nervous or scared? To put it that way, scared?
Nervous for sure. Scared, not always. Maybe if I have like a big crash,
Mhm.
like if I high side,
Ooh,
maybe I'm fine, just a little bruise on the knee or something, but
right.
maybe I feel like I break a bone.
Have you
Like that's sometimes when I get scared.
have you broken a bone yet?
Yeah, collarbone 2 years ago. No,
Oh,
or 3.
high side.
Yeah, high side.
Oh, now which is gonna bring me to the question, Dad. Like, I remember riding. Like, I have a roommate, and she has a son, and I held that kid in my arm 2 hours after he was born, so I feel like he's kind of like my son. So, we went riding bicycles yesterday, and he took a fall, man. He took a front end washout, and it's so hard to watch. I mean, that's how kids learn, and that's just part of growing up. It happened to us also, but how do you, as a dad, as a parent, watch your son race? And like I said, he's breaking his collarbone or he has a crash. I mean, how do you deal with that as a parent? Does that eat
It's
you up?
definitely hard. Yeah. I know just through experience that Ken tends to crash pretty well. He's kind of knows how to
Not
absorb
get
the
that.
damage a little bit. That's one of the reasons we got him into martial arts too, to kind of flexibility, balance, and then, learning to fall is definitely important. It's also kind of like big boned and, kind of sturdy, a little heavier, but, some of the crashes that he's had, I'm like, oh, but he gets up and walks away and he's fine, gets right back on and keeps going. But that definitely helps. And just as a rider and, as an athlete, I think he's, especially for his age, a little bit on the cautious side. Like he's not like one of those kids who are just like full send all the time, like zero fear. He definitely has a healthy amount of it to where he's like, okay, I feel comfortable to this, and there's some progression involved. Especially
Right.
when like we're learning motocross or something. Hitting the jumps. He wasn't pinned. Hitting that first tabletop that first time.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
he got like an inch of air that first time,
Yeah.
and then that became 2 and 3, and then
Right.
so on. But
Yeah, I mean, just from watching your videos, meeting you, and trying to study you a little bit, it seems like you're very measured in what you do. Like, you don't seem like a reckless kid. You seem like you're very measured, you're competitive, but it's a measured competitive. I mean, like I said, you're wise. You seem wise beyond your years. And I would love to race against you because if I was racing against you, I would feel like if it's me and you, I know he's not going to do something stupid to take us both out. If he's going to pass, it's going to be clean and it's not going to hurt. You know how, like, if you're racing against, put some names out there, and I don't mean disrespect to him, like Jeremy Alcoba or or a couple guys in Moto 3, and you see him on the dashboard, you go, oh no, this is going to hurt. Where I think if your son, I think he's more of a measured kind of a racer. Am I correct in that?
yeah, definitely, I think so.
I try not to make aggressive passes, not aggressive, but like in a way where it hurts the other rider, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously make aggressive passes when I need to.
Mm-hmm.
If I need to, which is very rarely, bump into them. But for the most part, I make clean passes.
Hey, yeah, you seem that way. I'm just amazed, Dad. Like when he broke his collarbone, like what did the mom say? And what was it a question? And did you ask him like, "Hey, you still want to do this?" Or I mean, was there a conversation about that? And did you, Kensei, did you go? Did you even think twice? Like, is this what I want to do? I mean, was that conversation ever had after that?
I don't remember. Probably not. I mean, we always had this little thought, like, oh, like what if I get hurt more? Oh, what if I don't know. I'm scared of this and I go even slower. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I was never okay. We're gonna stop. Like I don't want to do this anymore. I was afraid of the track for quite some time, but
Really?
never of racing, never of a bike.
Really? So you're like, how are you afraid of the track? Like in what way?
Kind of because I crashed there, and like if I broke a bone there, it kind of makes me scared. But after like 2 months, I was fine, and I went there,
Mm-hmm.
went fast,
Mhm.
and that just built up my courage again.
Because it's almost like when the big racers. I mean, because we always think you guys are invincible. Like, because you mean there's that. I mean, you've seen the MotoGP guys, the pain they go through or whatever. They break like when Jorge Lorenzo races that broken collarbone and acid, and you see what they go through, and they seem beyond human. Like that's what they call the aliens. And that's why, like, you got to realize, you're just as normal like everybody else. So you do have that mental block of like, okay, I crashed this track, I crashed this turn right here. Now I got to master that, or I got to forget that it happened, or you got to go through. Do you mentally go, okay, this is where I crashed? Let's say in turn 4. Now, do you go, okay, here's turn 4. I can't do this, or you know what? I'm still gonna do the same thing and just hope for the best.
Not really, because the crash that I broke my collarbone.
Mm-hmm.
Was in early apex, and I ran into the grass.
Okay.
And then I came out of the grass and I pinned it, and then I high sided.
Oh.
So I wasn't afraid of that corner at all. I was just afraid that I'd make that same mistake.
Mm-hmm. And did you learn from that? Did you learn from that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like the day before a race, and I was setting PRs, lap times, and I just felt so good, and just coming out early apex, hit the grass, coming out high sides. But never at all. I was really scared to, never scared of that corner again.
Okay.
Like, I was just like, okay, just be a little more cautious, like the first 5 laps.
Okay.
And then, okay, I'm getting into this. Okay, now let's push a little harder and harder. Okay, I'm getting close to the grass. Let me move step it a notch back, like stuff like that. So I was never really afraid of that corner.
Okay. Now, Dad, now I hate that, I don't want to bring guys down, but this year was, kind of, I didn't say bad year, but, we had three tragedies on the track. One in MotoGP, one in World Superbike, and then one in, I think, the series that raced over in Valencia, how do you pronounce that?
The European Talent Cup.
Yeah.
The FIM stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, how did that affect you? And did you know the riders or did it affect you?
Oh, for sure. It was definitely, really shocking to see, some really young riders. We didn't know any of the riders personally, but they were definitely like only like 1 or 2 degrees of separation away from people that we're close with. So and these are all in series that we're looking at. So definitely hit close to home and something that we really kind of think about and consider. And it was definitely kind of tough, but kind of keep going and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Kensei, how did you manage that mentally? I mean, for you, because you're actually racing. I mean, I can empathize with the dad watching you, and you have no idea what he's going through watching you. Then how do you? Because you're the one that's out there. So how do you, knowing what happened? Like, say, the first time you raced, after knowing what happened to one of the racers. What I mean, is that in your mind, or do you block it out?
I don't think about it at all. When I'm riding, my mind is fully clear. I try not to think about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just go out and ride, race, have a good time, just be safe. Even off the track, I never really think about it, just because it might mentally fear me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just never try to think about it.
Okay. All right. Good for you, man. I mean, honestly, that was tough because I mean, I hated to ask that, but it's there. It's the elephant in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I said, man, just knowing you, I mean, it's great because I love watching him race, but then I know what that's like for you, Dad, because that's your pride and joy, and it's just that part of you has always got to be like, I mean, keep your fingers crossed. Like you want him to do well, but you also want him to come back and all right, let's try this again.
Oh yeah, big time.
So this year, let's talk about something happy. This year, you won the what was the MotoGP? I mean, the Moto America Mini Cup. You won that, and you won a guitar. Am I not right?
Yep.
Do you still have the guitar?
Oh yeah.
For sure. Can you play guitar?
No, not at all.
Yeah, not too much musical ability here.
Wait a minute. That's the only thing he can't do is play guitar? That's the only thing he can't do.
I can't play any musical instrument, although I can just string random strings and I can hit random keys on the piano. That's it.
Finally, something you can't do. It was you were annoying the hell out of me because I'm sitting there talking to you and you've done everything. You're a black belt. You race every kind of discipline I wish I raced, and I'm starting not to like this kid. So finally, there's something you can't do, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Wait, I can play Twinkle Little Star on the
it's over.
piano.
It's done. Good for you, man. Well, tell me about your first championship season in Moto America in the Mini Cup.
Just super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first race, we were going into it expecting 110 to be fighting for the championship,
mm-hmm.
and 160 maybe be a podium here and there. Maybe try to get top 3 in the championship. And at Road America, I won 110 with a gap of like 10 seconds. And 160, God. I had a good battle with Jesse. So after that, I was like, okay, I got a good shot at the championship. Then at Ridge, we had double wins again. Then I was like, okay, I'm really going to fight for this championship. Like, I've got it. And that kind of went on into Pittsburgh, although in Pittsburgh, I was really pressured because a lot of the East Coast kids,
mm-hmm.
like Nathan, Mac, they would all go there to practice. And I was kind of like, okay, like this is their home track, so like it's gonna be kind of hard. And I ended up only getting second and third in 110,
Mm-hmm.
but in 160, I won both races and I won the championship by then.
It's funny you said pressure, and I just don't. No offense, but I don't. I just don't realize that you do. Do you feel pressure? I mean,
Oh yeah,
I just think that you're younger,
always.
so yeah, you do. I mean, how do you feel that pressure, and what do you do to alleviate it? And Dad, how do you do? Do you ask your son like, "Hey, how you feeling?" Whatever, and how do you help him alleviate the pressure?
I definitely, make sure that he doesn't feel pressure from me, or us, because that's the last thing that the kids need, I think. And at the end of the day, we just want to support him and help him go out there, have a good time, obviously do as well as he can, and really, I think the results are for him. You know, um, at the end of the day, he's the one that's motivated to go out and, let's say, if he's fighting for a win or whatever, then if he's gonna push to make that pass or whatever, he's got to be motivated for it. He can't be trying to do it to impress someone or to make someone else happy. Like, that's not going to work long term. So, or
Yeah,
even in the short term, really. So,
yeah.
just go out there, have fun, do your best, and you can't win everything.
Yeah,
Like you certainly can't go racing expecting results at every race, because you know it's not realistic, and
yeah.
at that point I think it's not fun anymore. So but I think pressure is definitely something that
We need to
Ken's,
work on.
yeah, struggled a little bit with this year.
Really?
Definitely getting a lot more attention now, and the better he does, the better that people expect him to do. And I think he feels like he doesn't want to let people down, and he kind of sets high expectations for himself.
Do you get
uh,
anxiety? Do you get anxiety sometimes, Kensei?
No, not really. I just feel pressured to do well. Like he said, I because I do better and better.
Mm-hmm.
I get more pressure from other people. Um, they expecting me to do better. So, at that point, it's kind of pressuring, and it's harder to do well.
You just got to remember to have fun. I mean, and
Yeah,
it's easy for me to say that from here, say being an older person or whatever and watching you, but it all boils down to, are you having fun? Because once it stops being fun, that's when it's like, let's do something else. I mean, you got to remember, and like I said, it's easy for me to say that, but you got people, you got sponsors, you got this and that, and then like you're moving up, so they're talking about you here and there. Maybe you get this right here, you got to do well here. So I know what you're saying, talking about when it's talking about pressure, but man, at the same time, at the end of the day, you got to remember, man, just have fun. I tell people that all the time. Like sometimes I have a big show, or if I get, if I have a good set, I can maybe get a TV, be on TV or whatever, and I'll get in my head. And at the end of the day, it's like, just remember, just have fun. Just go do what you do and have fun. And I think that's what you always got to remember. And also, what helps, honestly, I know you do a lot of training with everything, but it probably goes on with your martial arts training. Is yoga and meditation helps so great. I mean, that breathing with the yoga and meditation, that helps. When I race go-karts or getting, it gets a little shaky sometimes when I'm racing motocross or whatever, man, you getting that yoga breathing and it kind of just slows you down. I don't know if you do that, but
yeah,
yeah, try a little yoga, man. I think it'd be good for you. You do everything else, you might as well try some yoga.
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
do some like deep breathing exercises and
yeah.
like meditation stuff.
Do you
But yeah,
visualize?
definitely.
Do you any visualization exercises?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
we
So,
we try to do it a little more.
uh-huh.
Just because it'll help set a plan for the race. Um, and it'll help me focus more. So we're definitely gonna try to do that more.
Okay, so walk me through a race day for you. Like, walk me through a race day. The race morning. Race morning. You wake up. Are you a superstitious, or do you do a certain routine? Do you you have to wake up and put your left boot on first, and then your right boot, and then to put your? I mean, how does it work? And when you're going up to the grid, I mean, what's your mind like? Do you say, "Dad, don't talk to me. I got to get into this race mood"? I mean, how does it work for you?
In the morning, I don't really have a set routine.
Hmm.
I just the night before I just try to get enough rest.
And
He's
what
got
do
his favorite underwear, though.
Yeah, I got my favorite underwear and my favorite socks.
what's what's your favorite? Is it Underoos? What is it? Is it
It's a
Pokemon?
Rossi underwear.
No.
It used to be a different one. It was like I don't remember, but now it's the Rossi one, and I have a special set of socks that are very comfortable.
Oh, special underwear, man. I don't know. I don't know if I needed to hear that, but that just made my day. So okay, so what would happen if you like? What would happen if like you're going for the championship and it's like winner take all, and then all of a sudden the night before, Dad, where's my underwear? you don't have your lucky underwear. What would you do
Well,
with that?
then I'll wear my second lucky underwear, and then my third, and then my fourth.
I never expected to hear lucky underwear. I thought maybe putting your glove on the right one first, the left one first, but lucky underwear. Well, that's good, man. That's a good. I love it. Oh my God, I was not ready for that one. I was not ready for that one. Dad got me with that one. Okay, so you're on the starting grid. Okay, it's 5 minutes for the race, whatever. Where's your mind at? What are you thinking?
That's the time where I try to clear my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I just try to focus on the race. I kind of think in my mind, okay, now we're on the grid. It's a real race. It's not qualifying. It's not practice. It's time to get it done. Like that's kind of how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to think of anything else.
Now, a lot of racers talk about, and you've seen it before, the red mist when a racer gets mad. He gets
Oh yes.
say somebody has that hard pass and you go, oh, that was dirty, or they do something, you go, oh, really? You going to cut my nose off? Okay, that's how we're racing. I mean, have you ever gotten it, and what have you done to maybe alleviate that, or did you do something that you go, I probably shouldn't have done that, but I was mad?
Maybe not while I'm racing.
Uh-huh.
Maybe if I crash and I was in a good position,
Yeah.
maybe I'll have red mist for a little while in the pits.
Have you ever been mad at a specific racer that did
No, never.
that did something and you went, all right, man, that was dirty, and then you go, okay, and you let it go. Okay, I'm just gonna let it go because I got another race tomorrow. I mean, has that ever happened?
No, not really. Never. But
It will.
maybe in a race, I get mild red mist because someone cuts my nose off, or like someone like almost crashes me out.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. Oh, and then I'm like, okay, you really want to ride like that? Okay, let's go.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Like maybe somebody, you see somebody trying to steal your lucky underwear. I mean, you're gonna get you're gonna get your red mist. That's what I'm talking about. So now you go over. You get selected. You're the top 3. You go over to Valencia last week, I think it was, wasn't it, or 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So you go over to Valencia and you're ready, and it's got to be the dream weekend for you. You're one of the 3 Americans selected to race, and also it's Rossi's last race weekend. Man, how was it over there racing, and what was the difference you noticed racing in that division? I mean, racing in that it was the MiniGP, right? FIM MiniGP.
Yes.
Like, how elevated was that talent level? And were you intimidated by it, or did you go, I can race with these guys?
Well, the whole year I was riding with the Spanish champion, not the Spanish championship.
The Spanish championship.
Okay, yeah, Spanish championship.
Uh-huh.
The MiniGP 110s. So I knew the level. I knew that it was really high. I knew that they'd make aggressive passes. I knew that they'd be the top 3. So, like, I was going into it expecting, like, okay, we got to get into the main, then top 10, then maybe top 5, maybe even top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But I wasn't, because I was over there and a lot of people were watching, I kind of got pressured, thinking, okay, so many people are watching, it's even on TV, like, I have to do well. Like, I was kind of pressuring myself on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't put me in the right mental spot for free practice day 1, day 2, day 3, I think.
No, just
Day 1 and day 2. So I was just pressured and not in the right mental spot, and it didn't set me up for a good place.
And what did you learn from that?
I just learned to not pressure myself, even if people are expecting me to do well. Just clear all that out, pretend it's just a local race, and in the end it's just you and your bike.
Did you ever listen to music to help you, like, like clear your head, or is there any kind of, like, what do you listen to?
I have a playlist of different songs that my dad put in for me.
Oh my God, your dad put, so it's gotta be some old guys then, right? That you go, Dad, what is this? Who's Duran Duran?
I also have this speed cube that I use to calm myself down. Um, it's just a Rubik's cube
Yeah,
that spins really fast.
really,
It's what the pro guys use.
really.
Yeah, it's what's this?
And you just play with it until you get it to all the colors are on the
Yeah,
same cube, and it helps you mentally.
yeah. It like clears my mind with everything. It just calms myself down. It helps me focus, and I just then when it's time to go, I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm focused, and my mind is clear now.
Man, I love that, dude. I love that. And now, but were you intimidated a little bit because when you go overseas, man, it's a whole different ball game. I think everybody says that. The level is like so elevated. I mean, the Spanish now have basically taken what Kenny Roberts has done, and basically the students have surpassed the teacher in what they've done. So, like, were you intimidated going over there? And what was your first, I call it, like, oh crap moment where you went, wow, this is what they're doing? Was there ever a moment, and can you think specifically of a specific time? Because I asked Sean Dillon Kelly that, and he goes, when he was in Red Bull Rookies Cup, and he said he's doing, like, he's really going all out, and he's going to go into a turn, and he said Raul Fernandez passed on the outside, and he goes, holy crap, this is what I got to deal with. So was there a moment like that for you?
We just heard stories from a bunch of people who went overseas,
Mm-hmm.
especially like Christian.
Mm-hmm.
He was always our friend, so he'd always give us like information. Okay, like the level's really high here. They're gonna make aggressive passes. Um, it's like people who win in America can get like mid pack to last in Spain. So, I went there 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
With RG and Christian.
Mm-hmm.
They're my two friends, and I did a race there, and it was hard. It was hard, very hard.
Yeah. And what made it so hard? What made it so hard?
Like I looked at my qualifying times, and it was okay, but compared to all the other guys, I was pushing my maximum at the time.
Yeah.
And they were just on a whole different level. Like I just thought to myself, holy crap, they are fast.
Yeah.
And I think up until that point, like that was our first race in Spain. It was our first time there. We spent like a month, hanging out and training with Christian, and kind of last minute we decided, hey, we're here. Let's see if we can do a race here. So we did.
Yep.
But up until that point, Ken's been racing over here in the U.S. There was almost nobody his age. He was always racing against older kids. So even if he wasn't winning, he's like, okay, well, these kids are like, a lot older than me. Just I'll do my thing. But when we went there, he was up against all the kids that were his age or some even younger. And to see them so much faster was really eye-opening. So that was kind of maybe a turning point in his racing career. Like, how old were you? Like 8, 7 at that time?
8.
So but from then on, he was like, okay, Dad, like I gotta go fast. Instead of like, hey, I'm happy being, like sort of top, one of the top 3 local kids or whatever. He's like, okay, like I see where I want to get to.
Mhm.
And, training sort of got more serious. He started like being more motivated and pushing himself more from then on.
Right. Okay.
So, that's sort of been the goal. We were actually trying to race over there the whole season in 2020, but due to COVID and the travel restrictions, that ended up falling through. But this year we finally were able to go over there and do a full season with MiniGP racing, 110s in Spain in the Spanish Championship. And, in the first race, we wanted to see, in the last year and a half, how much he was able to improve. Because last year we did Moto America here, which was really nice, because now he could kind of compare himself to, the fastest kids in the country, and see from there how much he improved compared to the Spanish kids. And he definitely did. He was way better. And throughout the whole season, we kept improving and getting closer and closer to the top. And then, so going into this final MiniGP World Final at Valencia, we kind of expected that the level would not be as high as a Spanish championship. We're like, hey, there's only 3 Spanish kids, so the other kids from the rest of the world, we know they're going to be good, but I can't imagine that it would be like racing a field full of Spanish kids, and we were kind of right about that. But at the same time, just with the whole show with MotoGP, and I think a part of it was with the expectations that, hey, this is kind of our chance, because it's not a field of 30 Spanish kids. We got kids from all over the world, that we actually have a pretty good shot, after having raced in Spain. And I think that kind of added to, maybe pressure mentally, like, internally for Ken. And the format was kind of unique too. It was kind of a combination of how they do set up qualifying in MotoGP and like the European Talent Cup, where they have like last chance races.
Yes, I love
So
that.
all of the lap times from free practice get kind of determine where you are in qualifying.
Right.
And then depending on qualifying, only like the top 2 from each one go on to the next one and so forth. So I think there was extra pressure there again, because even when we're racing in Spain, the format is again different from what we're used to here. But we're used to how they do it in Spain. We have, 3 practice presses.
We've done it for like, the first time was hard, but we've done it for so long that I got used to it. I adjusted to it, and I got better at it. I adapted to it.
There you go. You have to.
Yeah. So, but again, this was something different, and because we struggled a little bit with bike setup. We made some changes. It was a lot better, but sort of the lap times weren't coming in the free practice sessions, and I think there's kind of getting frustrated, and maybe a little bit of that red mist, which in like a qualifying racing, I don't think it's particularly helpful. We want to avoid that, so
right.
So we ended up not doing well from the first day, which kind of made it a little difficult. So that kind of set us up on a little less than ideal situation for all the races on the second day. So the results weren't sort of what we were expecting or hoping for, but definitely a good learning experience. And it was really cool to be part of that show.
So having seen that and been a part of it and being like, okay, I see what this is about now. Is there a part of you goes, okay, when I go back over next year, man, I'm gonna show it. Like I know what I'm getting myself into, but I know I can hang with these guys. I mean, are you just chomping at the bit where you just can't wait to show these guys?
I mean, what I did in the Spanish Championship that I did this year in the 110s, there was a field full of Spaniards, and my best position was 8th, which is not that bad. But if I could have done that at the FIM, like if I got 8th in the Spanish Championship, which is probably a lot higher than the FIM 160s, then I probably could have been like maybe even top 5 in the world final. So it was a little disappointing for me. But I'm still young and I still got a few more years to go. So I'm looking forward to it.
Hey,
Yeah, we'll just enjoy the trip,
you're
enjoy
11.
the journey.
You're 11, man. Don't be so hard on yourself. What are you? What are you? Sixth grade? What? Fifth grade or sixth grade?
Fifth.
Yeah. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're in fifth grade. You got time to turn it around. Trust me. You got time to turn it around. I mean. You have no idea, man. I'm just talking to you going, kid, you have no idea. You got the world right here, man. I mean, we have a little stumble here and there, but like I said, once you can see where you're at and go, okay, make adjustments, dude, you can do. I mean, no one knew the animal that Marquez was going to be until I think after Moto 2. Because I remember when he won Moto 3 or 125s, I said, this kid's a little different because if you watch that race, he had some troubles with his bike and it almost didn't make the race. They had to take it apart, almost didn't make it. And for him to be there mentally and just to steel himself and then go out and do what he had to do, I said, this kid's different. But no one knew he was going to be the animal he was. No one knew Fabio was going to be how he turned out because, it wasn't going very well for Fabio in Moto 3 and then Moto 2. And then he won that race in Moto 2 in Barcelona. And after that, it kind of spiraled. So, man, you got time to turn around. You're only 11. I mean, don't be so hard on yourself. I would say this, though. I would say kind of stay away from girls. I mean, if I were you, I'd just stay focused. No girls, buddy. No girl. Maybe some video games. Hang out with your buddies, but no girls. Blinders on, man. Blinders on, bro. All right? I don't want you hanging out with any dances. I don't want you being on some dating site like, I don't know, Teen Tinder. I don't want you doing any of that. I want you focused, the focused animal you are, man. So what are your goals for 2022? What are your goals, buddy?
To win another MiniGP 160 championship. If we do that again, if I go to the FIM World Series, I would like to get top 10.
You will
or get into the main first.
You will. You will.
Speak it. I would like to just get good results on everything I can.
There you go, man. Speak it into existence. You're going to do it, dude. Speak it into just the way you ask Marquez those questions, look at the race that way, man. I mean, you've got it. That's why, honestly, when I met you, I was like, this kid has got it. I mean, I just love talking with GP. Y'all were so nice to me. And so, I mean that I was just like, I was so impressed that I got to have this kid on. And I was like, do I wait a year? Do I, whatever? And I knew I had to have the dad on too, because it's only fair because, dad's funding. You're the quote unquote sponsor of the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So before we get out of here, man, what's your who are your idols as far as racing goes? Who did you look up to that you wanted to emulate, or you're like, oh, that's my guy?
Daijiro Kato. I think he is one of the greatest Japanese racers of all time. That's my number. I'm running his number right now, number 74. And I want to be just like him.
What is it about the Japanese riders, man? Because Rossi always credits that was his favorites, man, when he grew up. What is it about the Japanese riders that makes people go, I want to be like those guys?
I don't know. Well, for us, being Japanese is definitely like,
Well,
that's a role.
I was going to get to that because, a lot of people shy away from race, and I don't think you should because, there's nothing bad on it. It's like I want everybody to do well, American or not, but now I'm biased because you guys are American, so I'm biased in that way. I want you to do well. Yeah. In the same way with KD Jr., man, I'm like, oh my God, somebody that kind of looks like me. I want them to do well, but I want everybody to do well. But I'm especially going to be like, kind of like, oh my God, this guy's in, he looks like me. It's kind of like when, James Stewart was coming through motocross. It's the same way. So you can relate to that, So, and that's why I asked. And I remember looking on your thing on your Instagram, how when you went to Kodo when you were younger, that you were wearing, I think, Kata's jersey or whatever, and the Repsol guys saw that, and they invited you into their paddock, right?
Yeah, I was wearing the Daijiro hat and the
Tomizawa shirt.
Yeah.
Shoya Tomizawa t-shirt.
Oh, he was one of my favorites. He really was. I that's one of my regrets in life that I didn't get a chance to meet him because watching him race that first race in Moto 2 in Qatar, I fell in love. I fell in love with that guy. I really did. Yeah. Well, so what is it about the Japanese riders, man, that make them so just iconic?
I don't know. I think it's always definitely special to see sort of, one of your own, kind of, especially in like a, world championship setting where, kind of showing the rest of the world how good they can be. But I think, for me personally, like, just the way they carry themselves with humility and hard work, dedication. I think that's one of the traits that a lot of the Japanese riders have. And personally, I also love, Nicky Hayden, because he had a lot of those same traits, and that's what I believe in. So.
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but if you guys get a chance to go back in my archives on Tales from the Gemini, I have a talk with Ayumi Sasaki, and he was a funny guy, and we talked, and he was telling me how when he grew up, it was just him who wanted to race. So he would be by himself doing kind of like circles in the street, whatever, on his motorcycle. He wanted to race, and he had an interesting story. So if you guys get a chance, go listen to that interview, man. It was
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love
We've been going through your archive. Actually, we've listened to a whole bunch already, but we haven't listened to Ayumi Sasaki's yet. So
I love that.
Check that out.
It's funny. The press girl, she told me, she goes, once he gets talking, he's funny, and we had to get him out of his little like shyness. And once he came out, the guy's funny. If you ever get a chance to listen to that, he has a nice little story. And
absolutely.
Yeah, man. So I wish you guys nothing but the best, man. Like I said, you've got the temperament, you've got the maturity. Like I wish I was you when I was your age. I mean, I don't know where I was, but I was nothing like you. You are so elevated. You can talk to my producer. He looks at me like, I know. My producer's 20, and this guy is like, he's like a grown. He's older than me mentally. He's 20, but he doesn't know who Pearl Jam is. I mean,
I don't know who that is either.
You know what? You're not supposed to. You're 11. Matter of fact, go to bed. It's me and your dad gonna talk. Go to bed. but yeah. But I just love your temperament. I love everything about you, man. You've got the world right here. You see what it takes to be a champion. I know. Is that one of your goals, to be a MotoGP or just make it to MotoGP?
Yeah, I want to be a rider who's fighting at the top in MotoGP.
God, man, it's gonna happen. Speaking into existence, you have a great, and this goes to your dad, man, because I'm, more your dad's age, and I don't have a son, so this is like, man, I can only imagine, man, the pride you have watching your son, and just, being there and not being that dad, like, come on, you gotta do this, like, he's nervous, so it's like, I'm gonna be quiet. Let him get in his own space, but you're always there behind. I just think it's one of the most beautiful things ever, and I love watching this. I really do. KD Jr., I love his dad, and I love that relationship. And this, too, I think it's so beautiful. I wish you guys nothing but the best. I want you to have a great Thanksgiving. I want you to, take a week off, get fat. You're 11, so get fat on this weekend, okay? Eat, do whatever. Stay away from the girls, like I told you, and then I want you to get training. January 2nd, I want you to start training hard. I mean, I want you to take a month off. I want you to take a month off, get away from it all, play video games. Is that what you do? What do you play? Do you play video games?
I just watch TV. I haven't played video games in a while.
What do you watch on TV? What do you watch?
I don't know, whatever I see.
What?
I watch, I don't know, documentaries. I watch mind-melting TV shows. I watch educational TV shows.
I can see that. There you go again. Now you're making me mad again. You're probably gonna watch something I can't even get into, and you're gonna be smarter than me, and I can just tell. Now you're making me mad again. You're gonna be great, Kensei. Keep it up, buddy. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, man. And you too, Dad. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a ball talking.
Dude, thank you for having us.
No,
this was super fun.
No, this is my pleasure, man. Like I said, man, I have a special place in my heart because this is what I wanted to do. And no disrespect to my dad, but it's like, this is one thing that I always wish I could have had. And that special relationship you guys have, I just think it's beautiful, man. So thank you so much, Kensei. Thank you, Dad. I appreciate that. You guys have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for watching Tales from the Gemini. You know how to do it. Hit me up on a DM or email me or whatever. Thanks for watching. Have a great holiday season. And like I say about this time, you know the word, peace.